Back to another episode of the Underrated and Overlooked podcast. Appreciate everybody tuning in. I'm Najee, the co-host, along with Craig Sager here. We're gonna get into some news. Gonna get into the preview, obviously, of signing day, which is actually tomorrow. So we'll be covering that here as well, putting up different things about players signing. So stay tuned to that. Go to scoretl.com to see that as well. And then we'll be getting into some college news, man. Can Colorado make a late push? What's going to happen with Terry Bussey as well? That's going to be very interesting. Number one athlete in the country. And then we'll obviously talk about the Super Bowl and what our plans are. So, how you feeling today, Greg?
Feeling good, yeah. And Ohio State's on fire.
Yes, they are. As far as recruiting, yes. So we're gonna break that down as well. But I did want to start today, Craig, with kind of a preview on the high school side and the college side. But Roger McCray set to announce his commitment tomorrow at 10 a.m. I mean, had a great career for Creekside, over 2,000 plus yards yet again, second straight season, being able to do that. Just what's your thoughts on that? Where do you think he goes?
Yeah, so I was looking at a possible prediction. I'm not really sure because a lot of his big offers came before the season started. And then, I mean, he was all about the football season. And so he's had a lot of time to sit back and see what's available. So I'm not sure where he's going to go. I know he's got a lot of D1 offers to choose from, but I have no idea where he's leaning.
Yeah, I'm about the same. I'm not really sure where he's going to go to. I know he's had some major offers, as you said, it came very early for him. I just go back to how fun he was to watch, man, especially in Corky Kale when we see him early on in the season and then ended up beating Kennesaw State and winning Offensive Player of the Game. Just one of those just dynamic players, and I'm sure he's going to be a great addition to any school he chooses to go to.
Yeah, and what I like about him, obviously, is like he's got superstar talent, but he's good at sharing the spotlight. He did it with Travis Terrell, both sides of the ball. So he's a good teammate. He can step up when his number's called. Played at Creekside. That's one of the top. You meet anyone that played high school football in Georgia, you say he played at Creekside, they all know what's up.
No doubt, and it'll be interesting to see if does he follow the trails of his teammate who actually committed earlier in the early national signing period to Jackson State, and that was Travis Terrell. So it'll be interesting to see maybe he will follow him. We've seen some of the top athletes go there to the HBCUs. So
yeah, certainly one of the big headliners tomorrow making their announcement, and yeah, familiar name. He will be considered a legend at Creekside.
No doubt. Well, Craig, I want to get your thoughts on this. This was a big breaking announcement yesterday, and I want us to react to this together. But it's from Andrew Alves of 247 Sports. We're going to share the screen with you guys so you guys can see this. But a big change is coming, and I want to get your instant reaction, Craig. As the tweet says, a big change coming to AAB on NBC starting in 2025, which is next year. Top juniors will be able to participate in the game. So what is your initial reaction to that, Craig?
I think this is twofold. One, I think we're going to see less players participate that are the early enrollees. And this year they did play in it. Whether it was like your Sammy Brown or Heglinski, are they class of 2024 or 2023? Well, technically they graduated in late 2023. So I think you're going to see more of these big name prospects because of the transfer portal. They're going to have to make that commitment, lock it down all the way, get to campus early. They're planning that out years in advance. So I think that's why they're going to open it up to more juniors.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think it has to do with the ever-changing landscape of college athletics, and that goes back to your point, Craig. I think they are going to change it, and they're going to allow the top juniors to go. And remember what these events used to be about, Craig. Obviously the Army Bowl, the All-American, the Under Armour. Kids would come on these platforms and commit right then and there, you know. But then when you have the guys, as you said, already committed, already signed, already enrolled into the school, then they're not going to do that on that kind of a stage. So I think, as you said, it allows the juniors to be on that spotlight, be able to commit while they're there, and also be able to kind of, be able to show schools, what they're able to do as well. Like some juniors would be underrated. They could put more great film out to display. So I think it helps.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the timeline. So does that mean that Juju could compete in it next year? Obviously, he would be a senior, but
if he wanted to, yes. But the problem is he is going to be signing up. He's already said it on his Twitter. He's going to be officially enrolling into school in January.
Gotcha.
But he still could, because we did see Mike Matthews actually go participate in the Polynesian Bowl, even though he was on Tennessee campus.
Very true. And then Trajan Greco obviously was the name this year, as you mentioned, guys that make their decision during the game. That actually used to be a big appeal to tune in and watch it. That was one of the biggest deals of the game.
Yep.
Then early signing day happened. So that kind of watered it down a little bit. But I still think that'll be a part of it. There's always going to be a few guys that save it for that game to make the decision. Um, but yes, definitely changed a lot.
Yes, it is. So that is our reaction to the big news that was brought out yesterday. That's me and Craig thoughts on it. So it will be fun to watch. I'm excited for the juniors though because they get to play in the game a little bit early. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, but that's also it's a lot of pressure if you think about it back then. It's like during halftime, middle of the game, put on that hat, let everyone know, and then got to go back out there and immediately show them what you can do. So I don't want to see that go away. I don't think it will all completely, but certainly more rare.
No doubt, no doubt, 100% agree with that. And we're gonna keep it rolling. We do have some news. I guess we're gonna start with my segment, and then Craig, whatever you've seen on the coaching landscape. But some big breaking news tomorrow around signing day. I do know a couple guys of where they're gonna go. I cannot reveal just yet, but I do know a couple guys are going to be signing tomorrow. They have not said anything on the social media just yet, but Cameron Lloyd is obviously one of them. I'm not going to air it out yet. Another one to watch for is John Stanley of Grayson. He's also signing tomorrow. I think the big question mark, Craig, is where is CJ Hurd going to land? He was formerly committed to Florida State. Right now, he is being crystal ball to Florida Atlantic University. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes. Running back Brandon Hood is another one. Where is he going to end up? Keenan Phillips as well. Jeremy Bell, who's been getting a lot of buzz lately, got a Georgia offer here recently. Noah Onyawa from Mountain View is another big name. Jordan White of Carrollton. And then Lorenzo Harvey, Craig, we've seen in the Georgia League Classic, is another big name. Definitely got to watch for and see where he ends up. But that's my big news. I probably will be breaking it tomorrow on one of these players at least. That's going to be set to sign officially.
Yeah, I'm really interested in Cam Lloyd because I think he's one of these players where there are things working against him. It's the height that's been following him the entire time, even when he was blowing up, bringing in all these offers. So, is someone going to realize, hey, we can take a guy that might be 5'7", 5'8", but he has this elite speed? Is he going to be that guy that did get undervalued because of his height, but still get that big time offer? And that would be a testament to the new technology, like the speed tracking, how much of an advocate his coaches were, what Monty Bumper's doing at Walton to reach out to these college programs, and how aggressive were these visits we've seen in the last month. January has been busy in getting guys to potentially flip, or even in the case of Joe Wilkinson. I mean, we didn't expect that Clemson offer right before signing day, so there's always possibilities and big surprises.
No doubt, 100% agree with that. You're definitely going to probably see something big kind of happen there late. We seen last year. We're going to talk about college in a little bit, but Colorado was able to flip Cormani McClain from, I believe, Miami. So that was big as well. So it's always, like you said, big flips. Definitely more seen kind of in the early signing day now. It's the national signing day, which is in February. But as Craig mentioned, it's going to be interesting to see if we see any flips. We got to see KJ Bolden flip from Florida State, obviously, to Georgia, and then we got to see Dylan Raiola actually flip from Georgia to Nebraska too.
Absolutely. And then, I mean, this month, I honestly, when I see these court cases, I don't even put any faith in it change anything. But there was a big one about the transfer rules, how they're taking it to the NCAA, saying you shouldn't be allowed to ever, in any circumstance, remove eligibility for transfer. And so this is just completely wide open now. Everything's going to change, and we might even see some transfers late.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. So NCAA is definitely going to figure something out when it comes to that, the transfer late.
I think the next possible rule is how close to the season are you allowed to transfer? I mean, right now there is nothing in place stopping this. So, I mean, it could be like the week before. Not that would be an ideal situation, but I think that's where the tug of war is at this point. I was trying to catch up to it with the court cases, but yeah, it seems like the NCAA wants something in place to govern it, but obviously they aren't going to be able to do anything like a sanction or taking away eligibility, but they have to at least have like a time period that they're going to have to get people to agree to. And what are people going to do? They're always going to push the line.
That's a good point, Craig. I didn't even think about it like that. Yeah, I mean, I agree. They're going to have to figure out, obviously, something with that. And bringing that closer together and, at least putting some type of stipulation on the athlete a little bit. I mean, we've discussed a lot on the show, and I 100% agree with you. They're going to have to figure something out when it comes to that.
Yeah, God forbid. Let's say you're in a situation like we've seen at Georgia where there's 2 or 3 elite quarterbacks. One guy's waiting his turn. They're in this battle. Anything could happen. But then let's say at another school, a kid gets injured or a starter, God forbid, gets in trouble or something. What's going to stop that second tier guy from taking the opportunity to going over there and plug and play? There is nothing stopping that right now.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
There is nothing.
That's what they're talking about. I think that was January 23rd. They got the DOJ involved, all this stuff. It's the NCAA. I mean, I'm going to try to spend the next few weeks looking at some of this stuff. I think these next 2 years are going to be insane. Like the battles, the reshaping, the conferences from 2024 to 2026. This is the moment.
Great point about Craig, and make sure you tune into Underrated and Overlooked. We're going to have, obviously, full coverage of that, and Craig is going to go into detail and figure out everything that's going on with that. Speaking of, still in the high school segment, Craig, what is the latest coaching change that you have seen out there in the state of Georgia?
So the ones that we are still waiting on to become official is Harrison. I really want to see this one get filled. I've speculated you got a great opportunity for Osborne's former coach who has experience in Cobb County. Osborne didn't want him to go, so I know his hat is in the ring for that. Obviously, there's other big candidates, but I think that's one of the big ones heading into this season. That would be a huge hire. Other than that, Camden County, that's another very relevant team that's going to be outstanding next season, has some of the best prospects in the country. Who are they going to bring to replace who many consider not only in the coaching world, but just guys that have covered Georgia high school football for years, arguably the best high school football coach in the 2020s.
It's a good point, man. I think the Harrison one you've been high on for a little while, and I think that's one we got to watch about definitely a head coach and see if he can actually get the job. I mean, I think that program definitely is filled with talent, and it's going to be interesting to see what coach can get in there and make that difference.
Yeah, and that's Jeff Herron. We mentioned it's like the only coach to win state titles at 3 different programs. And what was so impressive what he did this last year was he came out of retirement. They needed a head coach. Goes to Camden this past season. No, they were the only team in the playoffs past the second round. So the only team that made it to the quarterfinals that was never ranked at any point of the regular season, I think ever. They were never in the top 10, made it to the quarters, then pushed all the way to the semifinals. So he comes back and makes that impact. Tells you 2 things. 1, he was one of the best coaches ever. And 2, that Camden team has a lot of talent. Great tradition. That's a huge job opportunity.
No doubt. So we're going to keep it locked on that. Obviously, you can tune in the Craig Show on Wednesdays. Yeah. He's going to have full coverage of that. He does a really great job of covering what's going on in the state of Georgia with football, and especially on the coaching realms. And who you got tomorrow?
I'm not sure yet, but the last thing I'll say about Camden, that's one of those jobs in Georgia where if you win state titles in Florida or South Carolina or Alabama, you're in for that. They are looking all over for who is the championship coach to come in. So keep that in mind. We saw Niblett come from Alabama, Coach Probst, Hoover to Colquitt. I think you could see a big name from outside the state come in.
And Coach Curvin from
Alpharetta from Hoover. He was a coordinator at Hoover. So watch out for an out-of-state guy to come in that's been eyeing that South Georgia opportunity. I've seen some of these. I think the most ever was 70 different candidates get interviewed for one single job. And Georgia's obviously the highest paid high school football coaches in the state. We have 45 positions that make over $100,000.
Say that again. Wait, say that
There's
one more time.
45 head coaching positions that make over $100,000. These are public records. So yeah,
great point out by Craig. I want to just elaborate a little bit on that point. He said 45 coaches making over 6 figures, and the reason I want to talk about that really quick, that is the difference you're seeing. Why coaches want to come here to Georgia, right? Compared to maybe other states, maybe like the Tennessees or the Alabamas. You're coming here and you can go look at some of these programs and look at the facilities, man, and look at the love they get and look how much fandom is here in Georgia. And on top of that, got the support. you're making the money, and you got a community behind you. That makes a difference.
Yep. And then the perfect analogy and why these coaches are so motivated. If you ever remember like going to like Dick's Sporting Good, they have the rock climbing wall at the top. All you have to do is hit that bell once, get to one of these big name programs, because after you put in your 30 years, your pension comes from the year you made the most money. So just getting one opportunity at a school like Camden County, you have all these coaches. They want that. Yeah, they want it for the experience. They want it for the kids. But in terms of your retirement and the rest of your life, getting a big job like that, even for 1 year, if it doesn't work out, is so valuable just based off that fact.
No doubt. 100% agree with you. Great point out by you, Craig. Well, guys, you know what time it is now to end our segment of high school sports, high school football specifically. We got an underrated player. Tell the table. You got to know we're going to be doing this every single Tuesday. This week is Josh Layton. I'm sure Craig's going to have a great person next week, but he's from Starr's Mill. We have looked at Starr's Mill before, so we're going to look at them.
They lost a heartbreaker on the buzzer to Perry.
Yep.
An absolute heartbreaker.
And that is a team that won it all, actually, too. So let's roll it. Here is the tell of the tape, Josh Layton from Starr's Mill. All right, so here you see he's playing linebacker right here. Ooh, what a play right there. Okay. One-handed pick six. We got to roll that back. Let's go roll that one more time. Goodness. It's like as soon as he hit his hands, it was like glue, man.
And he took it all the way.
Wow. That was impressive. Great job reading right here. Here's another coverage play. Woo! Way to come downhill. Big stick right there from Layton. Okay. Here's a rush off the edge. Wow. Okay, that was impressive as well. Good job coming downhill and trying to strip the ball loose. Good job right there taking on blockers. Let's see. This one they said is a sack. Oh, I love this. Wow. Now I gotta roll that one more time. I mean, now that's impressive. And the reason why I slowed this down, I want y'all to see how impressive this was. So great play call right here, as you see. I mean, to me, the quarterback should have threw it right here to the flat because it was blocked up. But he hesitates. Okay, this defender's missed. Now he's on the island right here, guys, by himself, as you can see. Nobody else is there. He's blocked right here. Look at him contain the edge.
That's incredible, because he would have tried to make the play on the other side
easily.
Yeah. Great recognition.
Yeah, love that. And right here, goal line stand. Good job getting skinny. That looks like that's against Perry.
Yep.
Good job getting skinny on the goal line, coming up with the big play. Boom. Textbook tackling right there. Good form tackling. Good job containing the edge right there. Love that. Looks like this one's going to be a safety. Let's see what he does here. Good blitz. Good job taking on the blocks. That's picture perfect right there. Good block shed. Nice job right there. Playing the gap. Getting in between again. Looks like we're going to have a rush off right here. Once again against Perry. Good wrap-up tackle. I love it. There you go. Another screen. Here's a blocker in front of him. Good job yet again. Okay, against Perry again, Craig. 4th and goal. Wow. That's a momentum changing play right there. Good wrap-up tackle. We'll watch a couple more. Love that. Good job containing the edge again. Here he is here. Good job. Good tackle in the middle. One more. Watch this one. Looks like a blitz off the edge again. Pitch play. Oh, he blew that up. Nice. So, That is his film. Obviously, he still has another 2 minutes or so, but that's what we're gonna look at today. But Craig, what is your instant reaction to Josh Layton's tell of the tape?
Moves great laterally. I think he really understands the down and situation on each play. Case in point, blowing that one up. Um, just, oh, this is a play where we can just disrupt it. My teammates are right here. He sniffs it out, understands what the call is. And then Starr's Mill in general, I mean, they were a play away from making history, going to the state championship. I thought they had the talent last year, and it's going to be a big spotlight on him this next year.
No doubt. My quick thoughts. Love how you can blitz off the edge. Love how you were able to contain as well. Good form tackling as well. That really stood out to me. I also like how you're able to play coverage. I think that's an underrated part right there. The first play, one-handed interception as soon as it hits your hands. And you're not just looking to get the interception. You're looking to take it back for a pick six. So love that part about your game as well. And I think, some might say, oh, he's not the biggest, but he plays with a lot of heart, man. I think that's what matters. Play with heart, come downhill. His effort is relentless. Those things stand out to me, and I think he's a great backer for Starr's Mill. And them goal line stands, man, were next level.
Yeah, I think he's not like reacting, he's reading it, and then like he's beating them to the punch. That is such a key.
Yes, it
and
is.
I know one guy from Starr's Mill that went to UJ with me. His name was Chad Glore. He was a walk-on, ended up starring on special teams. He was a team captain, and you remind me a lot of him. His nickname was Chopper because he would chop people down.
There you go. Craig even gave you a nickname of a close friend of
Chad
his.
Glore, yes.
Chad Glory. So there you go, man. That is no small praise, man. So that's our thoughts on it. Thanks for sending in the film, and that's our reaction. But let's move to the second segment of the show, college football. Some major news, reacting to the major news in the sports. Ohio State lands top DBs in the country, Devin Sanchez, and then Niam Offer most recently. Craig, what's your instant reaction?
I think Ohio State is building a secondary that everyone needs to take notice of. They just got Caleb Downs. Are you kidding me? They have all this talent coming in, and then now they're securing 2025 guys that are probably going to enroll early. Watch out. I mean, we've seen the great receivers at Ohio State, the great athletes. They've always had it, but like an elite NFL secondary, I think that's the formula. And defense isn't a lost cause in college football. There was a time where it seems like every team's just scoring all these points, no elite defenses, but if you have the right secondary and you can add those disruptive pass rush guys, you can become a force on third down. You can make it a pain for your opponents. And I think you add an elite secondary that's able to not only defend like on an island, one-on-one situations, but then to be able to stop the run, Michigan, a team built like that, they're going to have a very hard time.
No doubt. I think it just signifies that they ain't playing around, as Craig mentioned. As you said, they got Caleb Downs, the transfer safety. Then you come in and you bring in also the top two from the 25, number one cornerback, and Naeem Offer, and then the number two defensive back, Devin Sanchez. I think all those things are big, man. I think that says a lot. And I think there's a reason why they're in DBU conversations. Listen to this list. I got a whole list of just safeties and corners that have been in the NFL. You got Jordan Fuller, Tanner McAllister. You have Von Bell, Ronnie Hickman, Malik Hooker, Sean Wade. Cornerback wise, you got Marshawn Lattimore, Bradley Roby, Jeff Okuda, Eli Apple. So, as you said, I think they're not playing around. I think head coach Ryan Day sees that the time is now, and he knows that it's kind of ticking for him, especially with Michigan now not having their former head coach Jim Harbaugh anymore and them winning a ring. I think he realizes, okay, hey, well, we got to start hitting on some of these transfers, start hitting on some of these guys. It'll be interesting to see if they can definitely keep these two guys and get them enrolled into the program and can keep the recruitment where it is. I think Ohio State's knocked out of the box. And I think according to 247, they are the number 2 overall in the rankings, according to team rankings for recruits right now.
That's right. They went from top 10, number 3, and now number 2. And that's just for 2024. You add the fact that Michigan, they're still going to be great, but they lose a head coach, lose a lot of those pieces. I think they're going to have the ability to take away certain things offensively. Michigan wasn't ever a team that liked to pass it deep anyway. But if you completely take that away, have the secondary that whoever's earning the spot out of this group in the years to come is going to be the real deal. And I think as a unit, they have a chance to be just nationally renowned.
No doubt about it, man. I 100% agree with that. And keeping it going, Craig, as we said, second Sunday is here. So I think our question is, can Colorado get some of these elite prospects? I think for me, starting, they don't rate in the top 100 far as just the class and what they have. And they're currently last in the Big 12. So as we know with Coach Dion, he wants to get a lot of guys from the portal. Only 6 commits from this class total. One of the big ones being Jordan Seaton, who's already signed. But a lot of guys from the portal, over I think 24 guys. Their top guys is defensive lineman Samuel Okonowa, defensive lineman Quincy Wiggins, wide receiver Will Shepard, defensive lineman BJ Green, tight end Shaman Matire, interior lineman Tyler Johnson, safety Preston Hodge, and a wide receiver LeJontay Wester. And they're number 5 in the transfer rankings.
Yeah, and it's honestly is a pretty tough situation because it's year 2, but I still think they're trying. In order for them to try to get competitive, they always had to take a different strategy. Year 1, they built it off a ton of transfers, guys from different schools, and they're in a situation now where they're offering a vision, a promise. Here's the destination spot. But then these other colleges have been able to look at what Colorado's trying to sell and then coming in and competing with them. It's not just within the conference, it's all over. So this is a big class for them. They need to finish strong. Obviously, it was rough at the end of the year and early signing day, just based off uh, last season not ending as well as it could. But yeah, this is a huge day for them tomorrow. They need to make some headlines.
That they do. And I think the big reason why they've been struggling, big coaching turnover on their staff. They lost 4 guys from the coaching staff from this past season. So that does not help, especially recruiting certain position groups. And you want guys to stay. Again, obviously, a lot of guys are going to come for Coach Prime. But again, that relationship with the positional coach is very, very vital for kids staying and wanting to come to your university.
Yep. And
So
gosh, I mean, last year, obviously, they were on top of college football for a while. It's just going to be hard to recapture that. And what do they need to do? They need the long term development of these players. But it's like, what is the promise they're selling them? Because at first, I believe it was, hey, we have this opportunity bringing in a bunch of guys. This year is going to be really special. This team hasn't really been relevant. We've got a lot of big televised games. This is an opportunity. Travis Hunter, blah, blah, blah. Well, what's the sell this year? It's going to be tough. I feel like everyone's coming for him.
they are, man. They got a little target on their backs. I know they didn't finish how they wanted to, lost 6 straight games, but a lot of people are going to be gunning for them. And it's going to be interesting to see the resolve they have and how they respond this season because it's not going to be easy. You're in the Big 12 now. You got a lot of good competition. I know Oklahoma, Texas is not there anymore, but you're still going to have the creme de la creme there in Big 12. It's still going to be a really, really good conference. Still got, obviously Kansas in there, Kansas State. Still got some top teams in there.
Oh, yeah. No, every game is going to be a challenge because this team, they really have to show up and you come out. And if there's any potential weakness in a matchup, it's going to be exposed. I mean, you're going up against teams that are studying you on film. You got pieces that haven't really played many seasons together. I mean, it is going to be very tough for them. But I think they should come out with a chip on their shoulder. I feel like it's love and hate. There's a lot of people rooting for them. There's a lot of people hating.
That's a good
It's
point.
like
That's a good point. Yeah, a lot of people want to see their downfall. And
they
some people
really
want
want to
them.
see it.
Yeah,
They
they do.
revel in it. And I think that should be a motivating factor. But what I said is like the offseason key. How did Michigan win? Great offensive line play, great defensive line play, especially. It's like it is those basics. I said Colorado should have the least fun offseason in the country this year. It shouldn't be fun
No.
because they can't come out and get embarrassed. They have to prove themselves this year in order for them to stay competitive in this hot transfer portal that is going to kind of normalize and we'll get into a rhythm after this year. But it's like they've got to strike it right now.
My question before we move to our next part of the segment: what, in your eyes, Craig? This is just opinion based. What constitutes as a successful season for the Colorado Buffaloes next year? Is that winning? Is that having a winning season? Right, 7 wins. Is that winning 9 games, or is that going to a college football playoff? How would you quantify a successful season for them?
One absolutely has to go to a bowl game, and two, eight wins would be success. 7 wins would be a good season. I think a through and through success story would be 8 wins.
Okay. I just wanted your thoughts on that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool.
No, that'd be a huge deal. I think that would show it's like, no, they're here to stay. The pieces are in place. They're a team that can be above 500 every year moving forward and can build for a special team if they build from the previous year with new pieces and like have that evaluation. Like I'm not writing them off, but I just know how tough it's going to be.
No doubt. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Make sure y'all use the comment section down below if you want us to answer any questions on the show today. Definitely use that chat box, like, comment, and subscribe as well. Yeah, I have to agree with you, Craig. Real quick, my thoughts. I think a successful season for Colorado, I think, will be a winning season. I think they exceed expectations if they make a college football playoff. If they do that and they can make some noise, I think that's ultra successful season after doing that in the second year. But I think having a winning season would be a success for the program. But I digress. We move on to, can Texas A&M hold on to Terry Bussey? Now, before I let you answer that, Craig, Georgia and LSU have been hot on the trails for this player, as far as recruiting wise. He visited Georgia a couple times. He just went to LSU and he had took an official visit to Texas A&M, nation's #1 athlete, named Mr. Texas Football. Also, as I said, taking an official visit to Texas A&M. Get this stat line, Craig. It's pretty crazy. So he passed for 2,177 yards and 26 touchdowns. He ran for 2,596 yards and 46 touchdowns and had 115 tackles and 5 interceptions. So one sought after athlete. Georgia, LSU was in there late, but a lot of people have him crystal ball to Texas A&M. What's your thoughts?
I think he stays in the state. I think he'll stay in Texas.
Think he'll stay in Texas?
Yes.
Okay. So Georgia, LSU.
No, I think he's good.
Okay. What gives you seem confident. What gives you confidence that he's going to stay? Just like a feeling.
Yeah, I think Texas A&M's a good chance for him. He's going to stay in state. He's going to be a superstar. And yeah, his numbers, I didn't write them down. I have them pulled up now, but the guy's athleticism is just ridiculous. Runs a 10.66 in the 100 as a quarterback, 2,500 passing yards, 2,000 rushing yards. Yeah, he's the real deal. But I just think we've seen Texas guys just stay in the state. I have a feeling he's going to do that.
All right. Well, there you have it. That is Craig thoughts. Yeah, I mean, he's trending that way. I think Georgia and LSU definitely did try. He likes the programs, but we're gonna find out tomorrow what he decides to officially do. Obviously, there'll be a bunch of National Signing Day shows as well, so it'll be interesting to watch what happens. But some more big news: SEC and Big Ten just formed a joint advisory group. Craig, so what is your thoughts on that? Them two forming that and kind of the whole purpose of it.
Well, I think it is going to be what I was talking about, 2024 to 2026. This is when all these negotiations and restructuring are coming. They're talking big time changes with this merger between them and the SEC. Like things like proposing to the NCAA that they want to increase their scholarships by 20 per year. And that would force the NCAA to make but that's the leverage they're going to have. NCAA say, oh, you can't do that. It's like, well, we have the funding. We both agreed on it. So they're trying to, as two of the biggest conferences with the most clout, with the most resources, they're trying to leverage things like that. Because if it's this situation where, oh, each conference has to have a representative in the playoff, they're big enough to where they can force everyone's hand. That's what I think. Their new executive, longtime Emmy award-winning television executive. I think he launched the MLB TV network. So he's going to have the TV side of it down pat with these big matchups. I think it's a great idea. And I don't know, it's going to be very powerful and monumental in these decision makings because each conference is going to try to have leverage, but those two combining forces, I think it gives them not only leverage against everyone else, gives them direct leverage against the NCAA.
No doubt, and as some of the key guys into the forming this joint alliance said they want to address the significant challenges facing college athletics. Says we do not expect to agree on everything, but enhancing interaction between our conferences will help focus efforts on common sense solutions. And the last quote was two conferences to take a leadership in developing solutions for a sustainable future of college sports. So, as you see, and as Craig alluded to, very, very crucial things going on. And as you said, one of these critical years is next to see kind of what happens with NCAA and what happens with college athletics.
Yeah, and equality between the conferences, equality between the teams. I think that's like out the window. Title IX still exists and stuff, but why should an Alabama team or a University of Georgia be the exact same as some team off in another conference that hasn't made a bowl game in 10 years? It's like they're saying now our league is exceptional. The SEC is where it's at. We have enough power. We're going to do our thing now. We're going to schedule these games. We're going to have, um, yeah, I just feel like they're going to change college football in the next years. I don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but that's what this is about. I mean, they have the power to literally get out of the NCAA if they want and then make all the money.
Interesting.
It's like, oh, you don't want to work with us? Okay, well, we have the SEC and Big Ten League now, and that will apply to every sport. So,
There you have it. That is Craig thoughts on it. Very, very interesting. So we'll keep
well,
that
and
locked.
sorry, one more thing, but yeah, the other thing that they're frustrated on is they call it, it's almost like copy and paste legislation. All these NIL deals are coming through states. And so it's like Missouri will approve this new NIL rule. Then you have to wait and see. And keep in mind, SEC obviously has schools in all these different states. So why should they have to wait to see if Georgia is going to copy what Missouri did? It's not feasible because then Georgia's going to complain because Missouri will have an advantage. So they're just saying like this entire thing about being governed by the NCAA, having to wait for each state to make these decisions. We want our commissioner and we are willing to work with one other conference, which gives us the leverage to potentially have our own thing going. It's a pretty important, significant, historic development that's just getting started.
Well, there you have it. That is Craig's thoughts officially. So will be interesting to watch. That's our thoughts. So we're going to leave it there. That is the college sports segment for the show today. We're going to advance to the last segment, which is NFL. Man, we got some major news going on. I thought it was pretty cool. We can actually start. It's not a topic going there, but I thought it was cool to bring up today. Official NFL game. Philly is going to play in Sao Paulo. Brazil, I don't know who they're going to play. They haven't announced it, but they're opening the season on a Friday in 2024 in Brazil. So I thought that was pretty cool. NFL international games we see has been overseas in London, UK, Germany now, but now this one is another one. Mexico has been another one. This games have been at Monday nights there, but in Sao Paulo. What's your instant reaction, Greg?
That's going to be awesome. And then the thing that people that have attended these international games have said that I think would be really fun. IJ went to the Falcons one this year. He said it's like you'll go to the game and everyone just shows up. I think he went to the one at Tottenham, just in an array of different NFL jerseys. They are there just to see American football, see the NFL in action, and it makes it a really unique experience because, yeah, you're going to have some diehards there, some Philly fans that would be pulling for them, but just getting to see an NFL game for the first time for a lot of people in that area, I think it's huge for the sport. I think they're going to enjoy it.
No doubt. I think it'll be interesting as well. As you said, they get to see some of their favorite guys, favorite players from across the NFL and be able to see them for the first time in person. I mean, that's a unique experience in itself. So, as we see, I think the big thing is NFL continues to try to expand. We've seen the NBA have a lot of success with it. A lot of their top players are now coming from overseas, different countries around the world, and I think you're going to see that now, especially with the NFL Academy and some top guys coming from overseas playing in that and then being able to go to a university and then eventually making the league. So I think it's pretty cool, and I think it's going to be great. Obviously for the fans, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm curious to see who they're going to play. I think they got to at least try to make it marquee. I mean, obviously Philly didn't have the season they wanted to this year, but made the Super Bowl last year. Be interested to see who they're going to face them up against.
Yes, it will. And got to think, they had a game, I think, in Mexico City once. I don't know if they've ever been to South America.
No, first game.
So, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is going to be very exciting.
Yeah, that one you're thinking of, the one in Mexico,
was
it was No, I think it was the Rams and the Cardinals that played.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was recently, I think.
Yeah, that was recent. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's first one ever in South America. That is huge.
No doubt about it.
Because I think the Falcons played a preseason game in Japan back in like 2014. So, I mean, that's a big deal going to South America for the first time. That is very exciting. Can't wait to watch that.
Yes, sir. So,
and a little jealous for everyone that's going to get to go.
Yeah, that should be fun, man. I'm sure that'll be a lot of fun for the teams and for the people that are going to go in. I know it's going to be some good fandom there, but that's our thoughts on that. And then we had a big coaching change as well. Dan Quinn got hired as the Commanders' new head coach, and he hired Cliff Kingsbury from out of, I think he wasn't coaching at the time, and Eric Bieniemy is no longer the coach for Washington. So what's your thoughts on that whole thing and Dan Quinn being the new coach?
I think it's a solid hire. Brings stability. I always like Dan Quinn. His relationship with the coordinators is going to be huge, but I mean, when he was at the Falcons, he always kept it fun. He was the one that introduced like playing music during practice. It was all about speed, tempo. So he's going to bring that same speed to practice, the tempo, all that. That makes him great. That makes him exciting. But making them a Super Bowl team, we'll see. We will see about that.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. I mean, I think it's kind of interesting that Washington got him, especially after he was the Dallas coordinator. We see what he was able to do with their defense, like was last in a lot of statistical categories. They didn't have their best game against the Packers, but for the most part, Dallas defense was a lot better than kind of, what they showed in that game specifically. And they did a lot of good things under his tenure there. Unfortunately, it ended that way, but I think he's going to make their defense better. Obviously, they're going to have to kind of restart. They don't have Montez Sweat anymore. Don't have Chase Young. So they're going to have to hit on some of these draft picks. Going to have to hit on free agency. But I think it's going to be interesting, Craig, what they do with that pick, right? A lot of people are saying they're going to take a quarterback. What I'm hearing the rumblings with Mel Kiper, I'm hearing that May is kind of slipping on draft boards currently. And I'm hearing that it could be Jaden Daniels, the number 2 quarterback that's taken in the draft. So it's going to be interesting to see who's going to be their future signal caller. I thought Sam Howell did have, some decent play with them, but they could look to move in a whole new direction under a new coaching staff. So what do they do with that first pick? How do they build that team? And what weapons do they go around? Because they got some good weapons on offense, right? You got Terry McLaurin, right? You got Jahan Dotson. They got some good pieces. So what direction will they go in with that pick in April? I think will be interesting to watch.
Certainly. But yeah, defensively, there's no doubt he can get it done on that side of the ball. So yes. Quarterback, always the big move. And this is a really interesting draft coming up. I think the success we saw last year with all those first-year quarterbacks, especially C.J. Stroud, I think there's a lot of value in finding a young talent, and no doubt it's on the board this year.
No doubt about it. So
with Daniels,
yes. So we're going to see, but that's our thoughts on that. But let's talk about Super Bowl, man. I know last year, man, you took a spill. We're going to talk about obviously the plans in a little bit, but I know you went to Rob Vaca and John Brickus' thing, but they're in Vegas, so we'll talk about obviously the plan. So, but what's your thoughts, man? What matchups can you not wait to see in this game and then come out? And what do you think about this comparison? I heard on Athletic, a writer compared Brock Purdy to Drew Brees. What's your thoughts on that? I feel like he could be the next Drew Brees. Thoughts on that and the matchups?
My thoughts on that comparison, not quite. I was not impressed with the accuracy in the last victory, even though they did pull out a nice comeback, but the throws were off target. Drew Brees, are you kidding me? He used to absolutely eat teams up with the intermediates, the slant routes. Brock Purdy's not slinging it like that yet. Could he have that Super Bowl moment? Sure. But to this day, he's been solid. We've never seen him dominate a big game where he's proven like, okay, this guy could be an MVP. This is one of the best talents in the NFL. You could see that. So I'm excited to see him. We know it's going to be a great coaching matchup. That's what the Chiefs have done extremely well with their defense all season long. How are they going to figure out how to disrupt Purdy, get pressure to him, and also try to slow down CJ McCaffrey? You got all these weapons. You can't allow the circus catches. I think penalties are always going to come into play. And then I'll say one more time, Patrick Mahomes has not rushed for a touchdown this entire season. We could see it in the Super Bowl.
Well, there you have it. That is Craig's thoughts on it. I think it is a little premature as well. I think, obviously Drew Brees is one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the sport. Like Craig alluded to, his accuracy was just next level, showed up in big games. Unfortunate how the tail end of his career kind of happened. Was a lot of people were pulling for Brees to play. A lot of people know about that phantom call at the end when they're playing the Rams, their first Super Bowl going to with that era and under Sean McVay, that should have really been the Saints going to play in the Patriots. Probably would have been a better Super Bowl too. Yep. But I digress. So yeah, I think it is a little premature. A lot of people are asking, is Brock Purdy elite? We got to kind of take into context all the weapons he has as well. Is he a good quarterback? Yes. Elite though, there's only a handful of guys you can pick right now, I think, in the league that are elite. And it ain't many. It's probably 3 or 4 guys. Like that to me is elite. You know what I'm saying? Good, you probably got 5 to 10 guys, but elite is another category in itself. And then you have the tier that Mahomes is in that nobody else is in. So there's that. But my matchup to watch, Craig, and I want to get your thoughts on this, but my matchup to watch, I got about 4 of them. Travis Kelce versus man or zone, right? Travis Kelce struggled a little bit towards the tail end of the regular season, but playoffs, he is heated up. He matched up against Kyle Hamilton in that game, absolutely torched him. In my opinion, had a really good game against him. He's like a safety blanket for, a Patrick Mahomes, able to throw him the ball, in those sweet spots, and he's able to make the defense pay. How will they be in those coverages against him? I think that's going to be a critical matchup, how they're going to look against that. Who's going to be the matchup? Will it be Fred Warner? Will it be multiple guys? What are they going to do to try to slow him down? That's going to be a big matchup, I think. Then the next part, I got to go, Craig. Chiefs defense versus the elite San Francisco weapons. Now, we've seen them against Baltimore pretty much for the most part stifle. Like, they weren't able to do anything. Lamar wasn't running like that. It was making them pat the ball. It was making them throw downfield. And San Fran's weapons are different. Right? You got Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk. How will their defense? Can their defense do it again? Against a really good elite team. So I think that's going to be interesting to see. We've seen you guys step up, and you guys have one of the top defenses in the league so far. So
yep, with Spagnuolo. And the thing is, like, stopping Baltimore last week, you talked about how they weren't really to get the receivers open too much. Secondary did a good job, but the big concern was Lamar's elusiveness, his ability to run, but they never really tried that. So you can't even say that the Chiefs shut that aspect down. They just stopped that, and then the Baltimore went into it with that game plan. Didn't work out. So I think stopping this offense, you're right, it's completely different.
Yep.
They're still going to try to disrupt Purdy, but they've got CJ McCaffrey able to come out of the backfield, make plays, make guys miss. Got all those weapons, guys that not only can run the routes but make circus catches. I think it's going to look a lot different. I thought the Baltimore game was sloppy. Baltimore didn't play well. San Francisco will. But Spagnuolo is known for crafting defensive schemes that really throw the opponent off their typical game. And I also think the 49ers are a creative, well-coached team. I think the coaching matchup's huge, but for me, Pacheco. He's going to bring the most heart in this game, and I think he's going to have a big one.
Well, there is another one for Craig. He's pointing out one of his impact players in this game, Isaiah Pacheco. So look out for that. And obviously, he said Mahomes as well. I got 2 more matchups, Craig, and I want to get your thoughts too. I got to go to the next big matchup, San Francisco's pass rush versus the Chiefs' offensive line. I've heard through the rumor mill that Chase Young is probably not going to play a lot in this game because he's been taking plays off. But the reason I bring up that matchup, Craig, is because you guys' offensive line was really good against the Ravens, right? It has been all postseason long. And that was kind of one of the, it wasn't a question mark, but it was like, okay, how can they hold up? And you guys have held up. You guys didn't allow a sack, I think, registered against the Ravens. So we know how good their pass rush could potentially be. Randy Gregory, Nick Bosa. We know how good that is, right? Can they get any pressure on Mahomes? Can they fluster him a little bit? I think that's a matchup to watch in the game. And the last one, Craig, what's your thoughts on this one too? Chiefs receivers versus San Francisco DBs. Only reason I bring that up, the Lions had success in that game early on with their receivers against their DBs. I think San Francisco DBs, if they can't get to the pass rush, which is why I brought that matchup up, I think they're a little susceptible on the back end. And I think that plays into you guys' favor. And Rashee Rice continue to show that he's the number one receiver and get him the ball. And Marquez Valdez-Scantling comes up with big catches, and including Travis Kelce. I think that will loom large, and you guys can potentially win this game. But what are your thoughts on those two? San Francisco pass rush against the offensive line, and then the receivers versus their DBs.
Yeah, with the Chiefs offense this year, they haven't put up a lot of points. They've struggled. Clearly, the production's not as good as it has been. But the offensive line hasn't been the weak point. It's been the receivers, the consistency there. Against Baltimore, Mahomes not only didn't get sacked, he wasn't even close to hurried. And
No.
you aren't beating the Chiefs if you aren't getting sacks and forcing Mahomes on the ground. Absolutely not. The only time they did get to him, to be fair, they ended up having a penalty, roughing the passer. I honestly, that one where they hit him in the head, I don't think that was intentional. I think that his hand just hit him in the face mask. It just looked like that. But I think getting to Mahomes, I mean, that is 100% the goal of the 49ers. You're not going to win this game, even if their secondary is able to lock down the receivers. Mahomes is creative enough. He's just going to extend the play and find something. So, that's what he does.
Right.
You got to get to him. And, yeah, that is crucial.
And last thing, what's your thoughts on, obviously you said, got to get to him. What's your thoughts on the DBs? Because I think that's the matchup. I think you guys can kind of exploit that a little bit.
I think the way I don't know. I mean, the Chiefs, you look at the last game, they didn't throw it deep. However, I mean, 31 of 38. So it's just going to be all the different guys on these short, quick passes. That is Andy Reid's playbook. And then obviously Kelsey's elite, breaking off the plays. But Mahomes is so good at knowing where all his guys are and reading the field. So I think that they're going to have success in that matchup. They just can't give up the big deep ball.
No, they cannot. Well,
But
Craig,
I also don't even know if the Chiefs will try.
got to. They're susceptible. You got to. You got to try it. I think that's Valdez-Scantling. I think that's Rashee Rice. It could be even deep play action crossers. You got to try it. You got to. But that is Davis' time. Game picks and score predictions, Craig. I already know you got, obviously, but what is your score prediction?
28-24 Chiefs.
Ooh, I almost went with that one too. Got me thinking now. I kind of believe the Chiefs are going to win this one. Something in me wants you to pick San Fran. I know regardless, it's going to be a good game, back and forth. I don't want to count out Mahomes because Mahomes does this. You know what I'm saying? And he solidified himself as an all-time great. I'm going to go San Fran, though. Someone's telling me to go Chiefs, but I'm going to go San Fran, close game, 31-28, late game field goal. They get a stop late. They go kick the game winner. That's what I got, 31-28.
Yep, I could very easily see that happening.
But it's going to be a good one.
I think if it's 28-24, my prediction, that would almost be reminiscent of the last game where the Chiefs just play better. They're in control the whole time.
Yep.
But if San Francisco comes out and plays well, they can easily take it. And that case would be huge. Winning by a field goal.
No doubt.
Yeah. Because you need that last possession against the team like the Chiefs. You do not want to put it in Mahomes' hands.
You do not.
Got to play for the clock.
That's it. Or you're done. Or you're done. And last thing, last topic for tonight, or for today, plans for Super Bowl Sunday, man. I feel like it's one of the best weekends, I think, here in the States, in the United States. You know, it's just always something going on. Like people just having, parties and, people have, people over. I feel like it's one of the best weekends, I think, probably, especially early on in the year, one of the best weekends. So what is your plans for Super Bowl Sunday?
Well, I like watching the game and not getting in any altercations. So I'm going to be very pleasant. I'm not going to talk any smack to 49ers fans. I'm just going to sit back and enjoy it.
Gotcha. Are you going?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm going somewhere.
Okay. That's what you're going to any bars, you think? Okay.
Oh, yeah. I might go maybe like a Hudson Grill for the first half.
Okay.
If the Chiefs are winning, I'll stay. If they're losing, I'll go somewhere else.
Where do you go?
Try my luck elsewhere, and that worked out.
See it Hudson Grill.
Yeah, that worked out for
Showing
me
up too?
last year because
Right, going.
yeah, my mom and Trip went to Hudson Grill, and I was at the Vaca's house, and then the Eagles were whooping our ass, and then everyone was talking smack to me, and then I left at halftime and met up with them at Hudson Grill, and then they came back and won. So
That's crazy.
yeah,
That
was
is
fun.
crazy. I can imagine you had a couple words for him.
Yeah, and I won $100
No
that day.
doubt.
So I didn't bet. No, that was for signing up at the Brinks thing. It's a great day.
Great day for you.
Yeah, not the Eagles, but they were talking smack the entire time I was there. They shouldn't have done it. Haven't learned their lesson yet, but the Eagles did dominate that first half. I'll be honest.
No doubt. For me, no big plans yet. I'm sure I'll probably get a couple invites though. People love, like I said, doing stuff on Super Bowl Sunday, but we will see how I choose to spend it. I'm not sure just yet, but I'm sure I'll get a couple invites. If not, I might just watch it at home, man. But anything else you wanted to address, Craig, before we wrap up for today? Usually have a topic or two.
Signing day tomorrow. Got all the basketball stuff. Scores all over at scorytail.com, and then you'll be back for your show today.
Yep, at 4:00, all girls show. So stay tuned for that. Excuse me. I will be having on Coach Tim Godby of Milton. If you guys don't know about Milton, one of the best, I think, dynasties in the sport. 16 championships, the most ever in GHSA history. And also they have won 6 consecutive titles. So I'm going to have them on, tune in at 4 p.m. But that's all I got. We got work to do. So we will see you guys later. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next week for another episode of Underrated and Overlooked at noon. Excuse me.